Welcome back to Shadowverse. I'm Andrew, and in this video, I'm going to be playing through Shadowverse Evolve. I'm going to do a little mini tournament series between these 6 decks. These are the 6 starter decks, although I've upgraded them with the contents of the booster box that I opened. So if you missed my starter deck openings as well as my booster box opening for Shadowverse Evolve, you can go back and check those videos. Otherwise, I have made some changes to the decks, again, with the contents of that box. So those are, we'll see those cards show up as we play out the matches. Since I don't have 8 decks to do like a single elimination bracket, I'm going to do 2 pods of 3 where each deck in a pod will play against each of the other 2 decks in that pod. And then if there is a clear winner from either pod, they'll fight each other for the championship title. If just one deck is a clear winner out of a pod, but the other pod doesn't yield a clear winner, then we'll just have that one be the winner. And if there's no clear winner from either pod, then we'll just have the 6 matches and no winner, and everyone will have a friendly tie. But anyway, first, to determine the first matchup, we're going to roll a die. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. We got a 4, so that will be Dragoncraft, and that will be up against 2, which is Swordcraft. Clearing out these other 4 decks, we won't need those today. We're going to have Dragoncraft versus Swordcraft, and these are the leaders, which are trash. They don't do anything. I don't know what they're for and why they put them in the game, but you won't see those again outside of deck selection. Let's get started. All right, so Dragoncraft will be going first because they were rolled first. Both decks have actually taken a mulligan, which means we shuffle back our starting hands and redrew. Actually, I'm not sure. Maybe they're supposed to just go on the bottom of the deck, but I shuffled, and I actually think it benefited both decks, so that's good. The first thing you do on your turn is gain an empty mana crystal, or I don't know what a play point, I think. I'll probably change back and forth between calling them play points, mana crystals, PP, or mana, or whatever. And then you refill your current mana up to your maximum. So we just gained 1 empty crystal, and then we fill up. So this is how much we have to spend this turn, which is 1. And then we would draw a card, but we don't have any cards. And actually, before you draw, you would untap everything. So again, nothing to untap. One more thing is that the player going second actually gains 3 of these. These are evolution points. These are like play points, except for that they can be spent only to evolve your cards, which we'll see evolution, I'm sure, later on. And you can only spend 1 of your evolution points per turn. The Swordcraft player is going to get 3 of these, and the Dragoncraft player will get none. So I'll put those here, and they'll use those later on. And then the Dragoncraft player has nothing that costs 1, so they'll actually end their turn and go to Swordcraft. So the Swordcraft player can also get 1 maximum play point and 1 current play point, and they actually have 1 to spend. And never mind, because the 1 card they have that costs 1 is actually a spell, so we'll need to save that for later and pass back. Okay, so Dragoncraft goes up to 2 and 2. And they can draw a card. And they also have a spell that costs the amount of mana they have, so they just need to pass back. Turn 2 for Swordcraft. And now they'll actually spend 2 and play the Oathless Knight. So this has 1 attack and 1 defense. It has Evolve for 1. So if we pay 1 play point, we can evolve it. And it has Fanfare, Summon a Knight. Fanfare is when it comes into play. So we get Knight immediately, and that's going to be summoned directly into play, and that's just a 1/1. We do have a battlefield limit of 5, so 2 of our 5 slots are now taken up, and neither of these cards has the ability to attack yet. They do have Summoning Sickness, and because of the EP, the Swordcraft player actually could spend 1 of them in order to evolve the Oathless Knight immediately, but it still wouldn't be able to attack the opponent directly. It would only evolved followers can attack enemy followers as though they didn't have Summoning Sickness. There are no enemy followers to attack, and they can't attack the player even if they're evolved. So we would just be kind of spending 1 of our evolution points for no immediate benefit, so we may as well save it for later. The only thing we're giving up is you can only evolve once per turn, and you can only spend 1 EP once per turn. So for some reason we want to evolve this next turn, and we want to evolve something else next turn. We are messing with that opportunity, but I think I'm okay with that because the evolve form still only has 1 health, and I don't want to just throw it away. So back to the Dragon player, we go to 3 and 3, draw a card. And then the Dragoncraft player is going to spend 3 to play a Rock. So Rock is a 3/3, 3 attack and 3 health. The attack is the blue and the health is the red. So the Rock has 2 abilities. It has evolution for 0, so we can evolve it. And just like this Knight could have evolved, we could evolve this, and we have the 0 in order to pay, so we could do that. The other ability is Strike. When it attacks, it gets +1 attack, and so Strike abilities happen before the attack actually would go through. If it evolves, it becomes the same size of Rock. It's still a 3/3, but its Strike ability changes to gaining a +1 attack and +1 defense when it strikes. So that is definitely better. But again, I don't think I'm going to actually do it, because even though an evolved follower can attack an enemy follower on the same turn that it is evolved, it can't attack the opponent directly. You also can't attack enemy units unless they are rested or tapped or whatever they're called. So the Swordcraft player doesn't actually have any units that we can attack. So we're just going to play the Rock and then pass back. So the Swordcraft player goes to 3 and 3 and draws a card. So now for the Swordcraft player, I actually am wondering if I'm regretting not evolving this Knight last turn, because I think we are going to go ahead and evolve something. We're going to play the Floral Fencer. So she is a 3/3, 3 attack and 3 health, cost of 3, so we'll spend that. And she evolves for 1, and we are going to pay 1 of our EP in order to get that evolution. And we'll go into our evolve deck. So each player has an evolve deck. This is just 10 cards that are evolution cards for cards that are in your deck. One of the big costs of evolution is the fact that you've got to spend 1 of your 10 slots on having the cards you need in this stack, because if this dies, it will go back to the evolution stack, but it won't be able to be used for the rest of the game. So you're limited on how many of your things can evolve. Even if it costs 0 to evolve, you still have to spend a card from that stack. So we're evolving the Floral Fencer into the Floral Fencer Evolved, and now she's a 4/4. And when we evolve her, we get a Steel-clad Knight and a Knight. So we've already seen the Knight. We get another one of those, but we also get the Steel-clad Knight. And just like that, we're already at our maximum board size of 5. Now these 3 can't attack this turn. This one, because it's evolved, could attack an enemy follower, but you can't attack enemy followers that are awake or standing or whatever you would call it, untapped. You can only attack enemy rested units. So if we had evolved this guy last turn, or if we'd chosen to evolve him instead of her, we would be able to attack this turn with a more powerful unit. But I think I'm okay with that, because I got all of this power onto the board for being able to attack next turn. And I'm actually just going to do 1 attack. I'm going to attack my opponent directly with this 1/1 Knight to put them down to 19. And I'm not going to attack with this guy because he has the potential to evolve up to having 3 attack. And I'd like to be able to use that without letting my opponent, if he's rested, my opponent can choose to attack him directly and kill him with little to no cost to them. So I think I want to keep him around for his bigger attack later on. So Dragoncraft goes up to 4 and 4 and draws a card. And I'm going to spend 3 of that to play another Rock. And I'm going to go ahead and do the 0 this time, and we're going to evolve that into the Rock Evolve. So you can go ahead and take a look at the art. But again, it stays at 3/3, but it gains that strike ability to get attack and health when it strikes. And now this one has the ability to attack a unit directly, which the other one doesn't have the ability to do. So I think I will attack there. You know what? I might make my opponent attack me. So we can't pick this off. But let's make some threats. So we're going to have this evolved Rock attack the opponent directly, and that's going to give it +1 and +1. So they take 4 damage. Put those down here, actually. Putting them down to 16. And then this one's going to attack, getting +1 attack. So it's also hitting for 4, going down to 12. And just like that, we've got a nice lead and a couple big, beefy rocks. Still have 1 play point, so the game does have instant or quick spells. So we might have something up our sleeve, and we can pass back. All right, Swordcraft goes to 4 and 4, readies the card and draws. So fortunately for Swordcraft, they have some nice tricks up their sleeves. First, they're going to pay 1 and play Unbridled Fury. This is a spell. It's a quick spell, but we'll just go ahead and play it now. Choose an enemy follower and deal X damage to it, where X is the number of followers in play. So we've got 5, so we can go ahead and hit this rock for 5. So that will take out its 4 defense, and the base card goes to the discard pile, and this card, the evolution card, goes back to the evolution stack, but face up, so it won't be usable for the rest of the game. Then we'll spend our other 3, and we're going to play Onslaught. So this is another spell. This one just does 5 damage directly, we also put a knight into our EX area. So this isn't something I've talked about yet, which is that usually tokens, but other cards too, can be placed into your EX area, which is down here. And you can play cards from here as though they were in your hand. And this is nice because if we're getting a token, we can't really have a token in our hand, but we can have a token kind of here on the sidelines waiting to be played. So we would have to pay a play point to summon a knight. Currently all our spots are full, so we're just going to save it for later. But with the 5 damage, we'll go ahead and just take out this rock before it ever gets to evolve. Clear these out, and then we can begin the onslaught with our followers. Go ahead and attack with everything. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, putting them down to 11. And with each attack, the opponent does have opportunity to play quick spells, which is going to come up in a second because our next move is going to be to finally, we're going to spend another evolution point, and we're going to go ahead and evolve the Oathless Knight into its evolved form. And now it is a 3-1. It actually gains direct attack, which is the ability that would let it attack an untapped follower on the enemy side, but we're okay just using the spells to get rid of them, and then we'll go ahead and attack directly for 3. But the Dragoncraft player will spend their last play point and play this card here, Blazing Breath, which does 2 damage. It actually does 4 damage if you have overflow, I think was the term, which means if you've got 7 maximum mana crystals. So basically starting on turn 7, though other cards can give you mana crystals faster or maximum play points. But anyway, 2 is enough for now to finish this guy off, sending the evolution for short-lived life back to the evolution stack, which actually gives the Swordcraft player an extra slot, but they are out of play points, so they are done. So we go to 5 and 5. See if we can recover from a nothing board. I'm actually going to go for another rock, spending 3, and go ahead and evolve it for 0. And we're going to go ahead and strike. We can now attack these followers since they're exhausted. We could trade with this because we would strike up to becoming a 4-4, but I think I want to go ahead and take out this and show something we haven't seen yet. So we're going to attack this more powerful knight directly, and they're going to deal damage to each other. So far this hasn't happened, but 2 damage is going to be dealt to this, which means it actually goes from 4 defense down to 2 defense. And that is a permanent change, and whereas this one will just be defeated completely. But this is still a big threat because its attack will keep going up every time it attacks, and its defense. So we're going to spend the other 2 to play this spell called Dragon Oracle. And this is a nice shiny card from the starter deck. And this says, choose 1, gain an empty play point, orb, or draw a card. So we'll go up to 6 on our play points. So let's keep the 5s easier for me to read. And now next turn we'll go up to 7. So we spent 2, but we have increased our maximum capacity. So Swordcraft has lost a bit of its position here. They've got their opponent down to 11 though. Let's see how far we can go. We've got a nice card here, which is the Royal Banner. And I think this is the first booster pack card I've played so far. This is also the first amulet we've seen. So amulets do take up a spot in your board, which is unfortunate because 5 is very restricting. And this is not a follower, so it's not going to be able to attack. It's not going to be attacked. It's just going to take up a spot. But I think its spot is worthwhile. So it says Fanfare, give +1/+1 to all allied Swordcraft followers. And whenever an allied Swordcraft follower comes into play, give it +1/+1. So we're going to have this out now, and we're going to permanently give +1/+1 to all 3 of our guys we have out. So that will be a nice boost for them. And on top of that, we're going to play this for our 5th play point, and that will immediately get +1/+1. So as you can see, we easily just play it from our EX area by paying the 1 cost. And I think we're going to have her attack the rock. So she's now a 5/5, so she can survive the rock's hit of 4. I'm going to change this +1 into a -3, so she's now going to be a 5/1, but the rock is taken back out. And then our other 3, our little knights here, can attack for 2 each, bringing them down by 6 to only 5 health remaining. But now Dragoncraft is going up to 7, and maybe they'll have some good stuff to do with that amount of play points. 7 is the overflow value we've been looking for. So a lot of Dragoncraft cards care about having at least 7 maximum play point crystals. which we've now met that threshold of. I think we are going to be able to slow the bleeding a little bit. So we're going to play Dragon Warrior, costs 3. So that's going to be a 3/3 that evolves for 1, and we're going to go ahead and pay that 1 to evolve it into the Dragon Warrior Evolved, which looks like this guy. And he's a 4/4, and when he evolves, choose an enemy follower and deal 3 damage to it. So that will finish off the 1 health remaining on this dangerous foe over here. And now we can also attack a follower directly. So let's go ahead and do that. So we'll take out this and bring this down to 2 health. And then we're going to spend our last 3 here to play Serpent Wrath. This is another booster pack upgrade, even though it's just a silverware. This is deal 5 damage to an enemy, and if Overflow is active, draw a card. So this is also quick, so we could save it. You know what? Hopefully we don't regret it. But let's hide that from our Swordcraft opponents so they don't know what's coming. Keep our 3 play points. We won't be able to use that card we draw anyway, and they might think they can get something sneaky through since they've got 4 potential damage and we're only at 5 remaining health. And just in case I forget to mention it, the times that you can play a quick spell are on your own turn, just normally, when your opponent attacks you, or at the end of your opponent's turn. So even if they somehow don't attack, we still will have the opportunity to play that quick spell. But I don't think the Serpent's Wrath is going to save the Dragoncraft player, because they've got some pretty good cards in the hand of Swordcraft. I think they're going to start out just by testing the waters. You can see the 3 play points available. Let's go ahead and get in for 2. I think the Dragoncraft player will let them attack for another 2, and that's very tempting for the Dragoncraft player to cast that Serpent Wrath now and take out the attacker, because they were thinking about just doing it on their own turn. But you know what? Let's take it and go down to 1, because the Swordcraft player is looking suspicious. And then they're going to spend 5 play points and play Alwada's Command, another booster pack upgrade. And this one is a gold rare, and it seems pretty strong. So you get to summon a Viking, a Steel-clad Knight, and a Knight. Now this is a spell, not a follower itself, so you're getting 3 followers out of that. Although I'm not actually sure how this works, because they are out of spots. They don't have room for their Viking, although the Viking's listed first, so I assume they could choose to get the Viking. And it looks like I don't have a Viking. That's too bad. So we'll just have to use one of these blank tokens here and say that this is our Viking. And let's go ahead and assume that I can choose not to take this Knight. I'll have a Viking instead. And the Viking is actually 3 cost, 3/2 with Storm. And Storm's ability, that means it can attack on the same turn it's played. So they do both get the benefits of the +1/+1 from the banner. And then the Viking can attack right away. And now would be the perfect time for the Dragoncraft player to go ahead and play the Serpent's Wrath to deal 5 damage to the Viking. So that blank token can be right out of here. Before the attack goes through, they get to draw a card. However, the Swordcraft player has 1 more play point, and they're going to go ahead and play this little guy. She is the Quick Blader. Oh, let's go ahead and grab Alwada's Command. Put the Quick Blader down, and she is a 1/1, costs 1, and she can evolve for 3 into a 3/3 with Storm. However, even in her basic form, she already has Storm, and as we just said with the Viking, that means she can attack right away. Because of the banner, it will be as a 2/2. But 1/1 would have been good enough to take out the Dragoncraft player's last couple of life, which is a bit of a shame because they actually had a pretty cool card here. They had Fafnir, just needed 1 more mana, and when it has a fanfare that when it comes into play, deals 5 damage to all enemy followers. Could have wiped the board, although this amulet would have still been doing some pretty good work. But anyway, thanks for watching. Next video in this series, we'll skip over to the second pod and roll a completely new random matchup. But stay tuned because we'll see Dragoncraft and Swordcraft again with different pairings. Thanks for watching. Subscribe so we get more subscribers, and bye.